everyone. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Laura Jewett, real estate agent with True Realty, and today I have the pleasure of meeting with Emmet. He is the manager of Soul Sports Running Zone in Scottsdale, the Scottsdale location. They do have 3 locations, but thank you so much, Emmet, for joining us today.
Well, thank you for asking. I appreciate you highlighting us.
Absolutely, we really appreciate it. So, what makes your shoe store different? So you guys are locally owned and operated, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so what makes you guys unique and different as a shoe store in our community?
It's back to the old customer service, if you will, very much like realtors have, that one-on-one, that intimacy, that understanding what your customer is asking for, listening to what their needs are. Some of our customer referrals are all based off podiatrists, chiropractors, physical therapists, coaches, so we already have that connection with them if they believe that we can help them. And we try to facilitate that through a biomechanics test, a static test, and it's just a simple way that we can do our job better, understanding what your feet do. Because feet are hereditary, you can't do much about that. And the shoes behind us here kind of can basically customize a fit, if you will, on what your foot does or does not do.
Okay.
But so we provide that extra service that will allow us to fit you in the best shoe possible.
So definitely basically a little bit different than just the online purchase of
yes, yeah,
point and click.
Yeah, exactly correct. It's challenging to find the right shoe or the right dress or the right realtor. You have to find that connection. I mean, it's easy just to see something online and it looks well, but then when you come in, then you get a good look and feel about what we can do, what we can't do. We do way more than we can do than what we can't do, because we can actually fit the shoe based on what your foot does.
So tell me a little bit more about that fit process. You had mentioned some big fancy words there, biomechanics and
yes.
that kind of thing. So what does that process look like?
Well, there's 2 ways. So say, for example, you're a walker, just getting back into walking for exercise. So it's interesting for us to see how you walk. And while we do that, we have a treadmill just to my right here or your left. We'll put you on the treadmill, and there's a camera behind it with software, and then we watch what it happens, your foot motion, and then we could replay that to see what your foot does under impact. Now, if you're running, then that's more of really a dynamic gait, and that allows us to see what your foot does under weight impact, because when you run, both feet are off the ground. If you're using it for walking, if we're using it for standing, say you're standing or volunteering at, a voting booth, and you're there for 9 hours. We have another machine that will determine what's the best thing based on how you stand. We call that a static test, which just means that's how we stand. Those 2 tests can be different. So just because your foot does one thing doesn't mean it's going to do another thing under impact. So we just can't stop there. We got to make sure what we're looking for. But it comes down to what our customers' needs are. And then that's how we go. And whatever information we provide, then that's up to the customer if they want to take it. But that's usually what they're coming here for, advice, because usually something's not right.
That's really amazing. I mean, you just not going in and picking something off the shelf. It's very, very tailored and customized to.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take a look at a lot of the Arizona-based running shirts, and that's very cool.
Yeah, that's our fun way of introducing people who come to our store. Like, this is something unique and fun. So when we all go visit other parts of the state or other countries, there is that memento that we want to remember. Like, hey, when I was there, this is what I got. Our store is a running store, so we really focus not just on the walker. We do try to do our best to focus on the runner who are looking for a little more demanding of products. But nonetheless, we get people who buy the run shirt just because it's a fun color, it looks neat. They may not even run at all. And it's not the point, it's just more like Arizona flag with the word run, and they're extremely soft. And we have women's colors tanks, and then we also have the run shirts as well. And then this is other local gentleman from Tucson. He provides those for us, and we sell them at, it's a hoodie. Not very common to have that you need a hoodie in Arizona, but if we do, it's right around this time. But yeah, and then we have the newer shirts with some of the backdrop of our biggest trails in the valley. Something fun and something different that we get a lot of trail runners that come across the United States and other countries for local races. So they will pop in and see something unique and want to take it home, or a hat or something unique to identify their visit.
Visit here.
Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely.
And so speaking of, catering to the runners, you also host running events.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do group runs 3 days a week. What we try to do is find a way to reach out to other local businesses as well. So our store here, on Tuesdays, we do a run from the quarter with another group called Riot AZ that's running as our therapy, and they start from that area. And then on Thursdays we meet up with the nice people from Phoenix Beer Co., which is also a locally owned restaurant in the valley, and they're behind 2 miles behind us here on the Greenbelt, so you can get a nice view, see some beautiful homes and lakes, and then come back to a locally owned restaurant and get a 50% off beer because of our relationship with them. Then on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. we meet here, and for people who are visiting, it's a great way to see the community without knowing, like, don't run down Scottsdale Road. Not that it's not beautiful, but it doesn't really encapsulate everything.
And a little hazardous.
And a little hazardous, a little loud, and
Yes.
why not cut through the canal or the green belt, so we can introduce those people visiting, even if they're running or walking, want to take a bike ride. Any visitor that comes in, we ask them if they want to go for a walk or run, and they say yes, and then we say, well, this is the greatest place, or go through Mummy Mountain, which is just to our left or the west of us here.
Cool. Well, what would you like to tell us about any upcoming specials, anything going on that you'd like to tell us about? How can people reach you?
You can reach us definitely all 3 locations at our website, soulsportsrunning.com, and you can find, we do have an online store, so we actually just boxed up something that is going to Colorado. We also have group runs at our other 2 locations, so if you're not in the Scottsdale area, you happen to be in the Tempe area or the Arcadia area, you can also look up that information as well. Everything that we do as far as like big fun events is on our calendar through our website, so you can see all of our stores, you can see all of our 3 times a week we have group runs, trail runs in Arcadia, once every other week. And then our Tempe store has group runs and track workouts for those who are really more demanding out of their body from track and field. But mostly it's just if you reach out, we will have events that we do a collaboration with a run going from one store to another store.
Right.
So some people who don't run come out with their husbands or wives or their kids, and they ride a bike, and then their mom or dad runs. Or people do a relay. It's just a fun way to get community together. And then we also end up at a nice restaurant with a relationship called Oso. John Jean over there at Oso provides us the venue. And that's a local restaurant as well. So we kind of find a way to encompass the community, and not just our own business, but other businesses.
Well, and then just bringing people together too. And that's amazing. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us
No
today.
problem.
I really appreciate all the information. I hope everybody comes out to check them out, or join one of their runs, or just come
And it's free.
in and even better. Thank you once again for joining us today. Again, I'm Laura Jewett with True Realty. If you have a local business that you'd like featured, please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks so much for joining.